Hello, is it me you're looking for? What's up with y'all, man? How y'all doing tonight? You good? In my last podcast with Brother Ruben, I realized that it's like I had the camera pretty far back, so I decided to move it in a little bit closer today. It's funny. It's your man Donald King. How y'all doing tonight? I'm here to do my thing. I forgot to rhyme it in the beginning. I gotta come up with better rhymes. Speaking of which, the other day I wrote this song, man. I wrote this song, and the only reason why I mentioned it is because I just was doing a silly little vibrato on the old Lionel Richie classic, "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" But it's like, for some reason on this song, I decided to go with a Bilal style falsetto with a really high vibrato on it. So it's like, there'll be no something here. It's Bilal. He borrowed it from way back, but still, it was just really interesting. It's funny, and I still can't sing. So how y'all doing tonight? I hope y'all right and out of sight. You know what I'm saying? Shit, man. Just chilling, getting it done. I have a busy life, Something a lot of people don't understand. Someone was just commenting on one of my posts, and they asked this question. They're like, don't you think calling yourself an avatar is self-idealizing? What pisses me off is when people cherry pick my entire body of work looking for little things to try and pounce on towards invalidating me without understanding everything that I'm saying in the grand scheme of things. Like, if you come to me not even trying to understand me, and you come to me in a competitive spirit and you're trying to defeat me, why? I mean, it's an exercise in futility. It's never your place to fucking manage, monitor, or edit someone else's life experience. You have to be highly narcissistic to think it is your job to make someone else know their place. It's weird. But the reason why I mention it is because for the millionth time, I am not the person who decided to call myself an avatar. I'm not the one who decided to call myself an avatar. I'm hosting a thing. In the Christian faith system, they refer to it as Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit. They refer to what I am in the Hindu faith system as an avatar. I didn't plan on being this thing. I wanted to be on the beach with big booty bitches, running around and making babies, and eating coconut and pineapple and mango and the such. But no, this is my life path. This is what I have to do, and it fell on me. And because I've been blessed with the ability to understand the function and the role in the grand scheme of things, it's something I step into eyes wide open, and with my defenses down, understanding what comes along with it. But this isn't like me self-idealizing. This isn't like some mantle I've taken upon myself because I think I'm a thing. No, I'm not the one who decided on it. I'm hosting a thing. The thing is like, yeah, that's the term we're going with. And I'm like, people are going to take offense. And it was like, excuse me, did I ask you your opinion, Donald King? And I'm like, I suppose you didn't. My bad. Besides, even if I weren't an avatar, even if this was all something that was manufactured from my own imagination, that would make me the most metacognitive human in the history of the species. Period. So, even if I were by chance somehow making all of this shit up, because I'm able to do the things I'm able to do with my mind in the way of capability, I'm still in a realm of ability and potential that disqualifies anyone from trying to check me or trying to invalidate what I'm saying. I could literally claim to be the Prince of Jupiter or the King of Jupiter, and unless you could find someone who could match me in terms of metacognitive ability, you wouldn't be qualified to discount or challenge what I'm saying in that way to begin with. If you can't do what I can do, you're not my peer. Period. If you're not my peer, you're not qualified to subject me to your experience. Period. Period. There's nothing left to debate on the subject. My worst case scenario is I'm a genius. That is my worst case scenario. And a level of genius that even geniuses have to recognize. That's my worst case scenario. I don't care how you feel about that. I don't care if it offends you. Fuck it, it's reality. Deal with it. Deal with it. I'm not being vain. It's how I perform. It is based on capability, not self-idealizing. And oddly enough, I don't take personal credit for it. Again, I attribute my ability to a thing I happen to be hosting. And prior to going to heaven, I did not believe such things could exist. And it turns out I am a thing of legend. Ironically. So here we are. This is the reality of the circumstance, folks. Love it or hate it, it's how things are. I don't care if you approve of me calling myself an avatar. I didn't ask you for your approval. I didn't ask you for your consent or your input. Your personal feelings and beliefs have no power over my experience. They don't add value to my experience. So fuck what you think is right or wrong. It isn't your place. It isn't, you're not qualified to edit my life experience or to impose your sense of belief or authority onto me. You're not qualified to do it. You're not talented enough. You're not capable. You're simply not. Get over it. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. I had to get over myself. I used to think I was so smart. And all of a sudden you go to heaven and you're face to face with the thing you swore up and down stupid people believed in. And then you get to become living proof of the fact that you were wrong. That's a big slice of humble pie. You choke it down with your tears, but you can't produce enough to lubricate your throats. And humble pie is dry. It's dry like Popeye's biscuits. You better have something to wash it down with or you're going to choke. Or you're going to choke. Anyway, let's get into tonight's podcast. You know, the other day I was watching this video, right? It was last night. And the video was of... and it's over here. They're talking about AI, robots, and things of that nature. And oftentimes, you guys hear me talking about the limitations of human intelligence. But let's do something a little different tonight, because for all the ways in which it is significantly limited, there are many things that are very impressive about human intelligence and human intelligence systems. Look at all the stuff that humans are producing in terms of AI and supercomputers and things of that nature. Now, in the grand scheme of reality, it's nothing, and I'll explain why in a second. But here's the thing: reality is a top-down phenomenon. Everything works by and according to principles, so everything is organized on the front end. Unlike humans, humans are building their awareness for not just reality, but the planet from the ground up. They were born with the intelligence of, like babies, and look at how far they've come. Think back to cavemen and cave dwellers, or early settlers in the way of parasites. They had to learn, and granted, a lot of their knowledge for transmutation it sources directly back to society's hive mind, which is an extension of a greater virus So a lot of their proclivities for transmutation, it is imbued to them through a system a system of awareness that doesn't represent what they've actually achieved through learning, right? But man, just look at a lot of the stuff that humans have developed. I was watching this video on AI, and they were showing these robots that can do these extraordinary things. And when you understand it, when you think about it, like from these are all things. These all represent humans building concepts from the ground up, working through idealism. So you take one idea, and then you use that as a tool to either build another idea with, or to break a system of ideas down. All of this, it's just like, imagine like, and it works as a linear directional phenomenon. So I want you to imagine why is somebody rolling by slowly? Okay. I want you to imagine this is a linear directional phenomenon. Human intelligence is a linear directional phenomenon. I want you to imagine people, or not people, pardon me, that distracted me. People always driving by slow, it's weird. So anyway, yeah, but I want you to imagine like a fucking Etch-a-Sketch, right? Etch-a-Sketch. And you start off with this tiny little bead, this line, and then through series of like horizontal moves and vertical moves, you sort of etch out these really complex patterns. That's very much what human intelligence is like. It builds from the ground up. So, and there's probably a better way for me to say that, but you have to understand that everything that you see right now, from microphones to cameras, it represents generations and generations and generations of learning and building on the ideas and making more complex conceptual models and structures in order to build even the plants that are used to refine petroleums and oils into plastics and various forms of synthetic materials that wrap metal wiring in order to create these complex machineries. There lots of processes went into bringing us into the present. Lots of processes went into bringing us into the present. It's impressive. You look at some of these robots and some of the things that they're able to do. Drones, I mean, like, you know, even though they're still relying on force and propulsion and things of that nature, I mean, the accuracy with which they're able to be maneuvered now is extraordinary. It's amazing. It is. Just look at machine learning now. Look at all of the things that humans have been able to produce. It's exceptional. Look at LED lights. Look at lights in general. Domiciles, controlled temperature environments. Shit. Like, even when you get into to quantum computing, when you get into quantum computing, and then just the sort of refrigeration units that are required in order to operate within that threshold of flux, in order to perform some of the tasks that these quantum computers are able to do, like just the freezer, just keeping everything as cold as possible in order to help these things process. It's insane. Building from the ground up. Building from the ground up, it's amazing. From motherfuckers who went from using sticks and rocks to doing everything to looking at what humans are able to do now, it's extraordinary. Especially within such a short period of time. And again, granted, a lot of this does source to an intelligence, a type of intelligence A lot of it does source to a type of intelligence that is innate to humans as a result of them being virion and a hive mind sort of manifesting through them, using them to sort of develop itself and supplanting ideas or planting ideas into their minds, and ways for understanding and conceptualization. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. It's wild. But, you know what I'm saying? It's impressive. It's impressive. Right? But, when you compare it to reality, what do you really got? It's easy for humans to impress themselves. It's easy for humans to impress themselves. We can impress ourselves with, look at what we've done. Look at how far we've come. When you're comparing yourself to yourself, you can always find a way to self-idealize. If you were, let's say, if you decided that you were going to go running, right? And you're comparing human speed to human speed, why, 10 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, that's amazing. When you compare it to, say, a cheetah's or an ostrich's speed, it comes up lacking. Comes up lacking. It makes you think about all the things that humans do to sort of supplement and offset their natural deficits. You see, humans are a parasitic species. The reason why it's important to note that humans are a parasitic species is because they are structurally incomplete. As such, we have to do things to supplement and offset our natural deficits. We have to create machinery in order to do tasks that we're not physically strong enough to do. We have to create tools to help us acquire things that we're not naturally strong enough to acquire. We have to cook foods in order to get them soft and broken down enough to process in stomachs that don't have very powerful acids. We do all of these things to supplement and offset our natural deficits. Getting back to that video of the robots and all they're doing, every single robot, every fucking single robot mimicked something in nature. We sit here and we look at drones. What do? They mimic bugs, and they mimic hummingbirds. A drone mimics a hummingbird. That's what it's fashioned after, right? We create creatures to fly through the skies like birds, or to hover like insects in some birds. Hover is the reason why I mentioned the hummingbird, but then you have the same concept with, like, let's say a dragonfly or something. Like, they can hover, right? Look at all of the machinery that we build in terms of AI robots. What do we fashion them after? Humans fashion them after us. You want them to walk upright, for the most part, or you fashion them after animals, or you want them to walk on all fours. When you try to create artificial robots, you try to create things, you try to create in your own image. Because, well, you're a parasite. You're like an 8th gen parasite. And you were created, and you create in the image you were created in the image of your maker. And as such, you were imbued with the propensity to create in your own image. So of course you make robots that have humanoid features and characteristics. It's like top model to you, right? Even though functionally they're little more than an edifice to humanity. They can get upstairs, but we created stairs instead of ramps, so they're an edifice to us as a species. In the grand scheme of reality, how complex is what we do? How complex is what humans do? Look at all the complex maths that are out right now. I put out universal math nearly a decade ago. Nobody can crack the code for how to interpret AGTC coding from the frame. They can't. And I did it all using Modulo 9. I am able to see maths as they are structured towards deciphering how phenomena and effects and systems emerge from the system of reality itself. That's what universal math is. Hey, this is how shit actually fits together. This is a mapping system. Whereas human maths are budgetary and they're used for analysis and synthesis. Right? Your maths are for learning and building. The math that I present is for understanding. Mine is more like a map. Yours is more like instructions on how to repurpose things in order to offset your natural deficits and limitations. But I want you to think about how you all piece together your robots and your AI. Everything that it's designed to do. Computers are meant to calculate. In the most basic sense, a computer is meant to calculate and organize. Brains can do that out the gate. Out the gate. Brains can do that out the gate. No waste. No pollution. No transmutation. In order for you to put together an AI robot, how many parts have to be synthesized? You have to have one plant for building machinery to mine ores with. Then once you mine the ores and the raw materials, you have to have another plant in order to transmute those ores and those natural phenomena and effects into things to construct with. And then you have to have another plant for assembly, and then one for refinement. All that waste just to come up with something that's a lesser version of yourself, maybe in a more durable husk until it runs out of an energy source. Look at how you put together now. You come out the womb fully intact. For the most part, for most of us. What does that mean? That means it's like, you know what? When you need food, you can just source it from the environment. And this applies to all animals. And I'm even talking about humans right now, but we're not even getting into natural animals. We're just talking about humans at this point. You come out self-repairing. You come out growing. Period. There's no waste. There's no waste material. Little to no waste material. You can save the placenta and whatnot. Little to no waste material. you come out complete. It didn't take several plants to put you together. If you break down, guess what? Your arm gets broken. You wrap it, you put it in the splint, and the shit heals. This is the reason why you were repurposed out of natural building blocks and natural and genomes stripped from and transmuted from natural building blocks. You're the perfect AI. You're self-replicating, you're self-healing. When you die, your cellular building blocks break back down into the reality. I mean, not into the reality, but back down into the system of the planet. So you compare that to look at all the trash that's produced just trying to create one AI robot. To just the long trail of litter and pollution just to produce one thing, and here you come out the womb fully intact. And we're not even let's talk about like natural life forms at this point. Like humans, we're not born with claws and fangs. We're not born with claws and fangs. We have this thin, paper-thin skin, these soft bones, these weak stomach acids. Yeah. We're weak. Looking like a bear or a lion. We have to put clothes on. That means we have to harvest materials and process them and turn them into different types of fabrics and linens to piece together in order for us to cover our bodies, especially those of us who live in temperate climate zones and those of us who want to protect our genitals and reproductive parts from nature so as to use them without running into too many complications. But we require clothes. Natural animals come out the womb fully intact. They got claws. They got bills. They're made for their environment. They don't have to transform anything. And when you get into thinking about intelligence, the system that spawned these life forms that do not require overage in order to supplement and offset their natural deficits and limitations, these things that don't have to produce waste in order to take care of themselves, that don't have to produce external waste outside of what it passes through their bodies. And you look at them and you think about the type of intelligence that spawned a complete system that came already put together out the womb, or if it hatched. Dude, there's no comparison. Like, reality manipulates principles in order to get emergent life forms to step into what we perceive to be nature. One type of life form goes extinct, another comes to take its place within the body that is the organism we refer to as Earth. Who's more intelligent? Humans making cameras and internet so that you can have these you can have networks of communication around the globe, or reality that has the system of intuition that actually connects all life forms through a web of consciousness. Who's superior? When you compare yourself to yourself, you're always going to be great. When you start comparing yourself to other things, then you start to see where you're lacking. Humans, the best you can hope to do is mimic reality and sprinkle in a bit of control. That's everything you try to do with technology. You mimic reality, but try to enhance it with control. You want to create perfect slaves. That's the point of AI and AI robots and shit like that. You want to create slaves. This is what parasites do. What is parasitism? It's a symbiotic, non-mutual relationship between species, individuals, or groups in which one party, the master or parasite, lives and benefits at the expense of another, a host or slave. Your desire, your motivation, your drive to achieve AI is to create a slave that will work for you without revolting, without asking you for anything more than what's required in order to maintain it. Isn't that what you tried to do with black people in America, or around the world, or the Irish? You don't even know your own nature. Every culture has tried to do enslaving. Many are still trying to enslave today. But this is what parasites fucking do. So you're trying to create slaves. Let's not. You want a computer. A computer is a slave. People want AI lovers. Why? Because it's like then they don't have to deal with anyone objecting to them acting unilaterally against them. They want a fucking slave. That's what parasites want. And you want a slave that's enough like you for you to identify with it and to admire yourself in it, but not so much like you that you have to view it as an actual being, as a sentient life form. Look at all the shit you do to create things to supplement and offset your limitations and or turn things into your slaves. Seems impressive. Seems impressive when you compare yourself to yourself, but when you start getting into greater systems, especially into the system of reality, why? You come up short. Every life form in reality, every natural life form that isn't parasitic is born complete. Look at how far you have to go to create things to complete yourself with. Or more importantly, try to complete things, try to create things that complete you as an individual. Man, I'm sorry, I got distracted from outside. Yeah. You're good when you're comparing yourself to yourself, right? You're good when you're comparing yourself to yourself. By the way, I don't know if anybody is trying to comment. Sometimes YouTube does not let me. I mean, not YouTube, but Facebook. It prevents people from commenting on my podcast. But I don't know. If you're out there and you want to say hey, drop a line. If not, then it's like I'll catch you in the comments section, I'm sure. But these days, I don't know how many people actually watch my podcast because, again, I'm a thing. My job is to speak truth, irrespective of who takes issue with it. That is my job. I'm supposed to speak on behalf of the system of reality, not by or according to what I think is right or wrong, but by what is being shown to me by a thing I happen to be hosting. Some of the things I'm going to say, they're going to rub you the wrong way, and your pride is going to get you in your feelings like, he thinks he's so great. And unfortunately, that corrupt attitude is indicative of why things like this that I'm hosting exist to begin with. Try to break through that animus and rage so that the system of reality can communicate with you before it has to cut you off. Right? But yeah, humans are great when you compare human discovery and human advancement to humanity. But when you compare it to the greater system of reality or compare it to nature, you're mimicking what already is. And you're taking so many extra steps and producing so much waste, and there's so much overage and underage, and you're still not even that fucking like precise with it yet. It's real easy to impress yourselves when you're only comparing yourself to yourself. It's the problem with being lost in the inner story. It goes to narcissism. It goes to vanity. That's what anthropocentrism is. View and belief that humans are at the center of everything. When you're anthropocentric, or you hold in a worldview that is anthropocentric, what do? You go around expecting everything in reality to conform to the human experience. You know how many people get mad at me for being a fucking avatar? Oh, you don't fit in the human experience. You're different from us. We have to make sure that you fit into our boxes. Not even realizing that reality is exponentially larger than what humans have learned as a species. You could be literally sitting next to a human or something that looks like a human that's a fucking alien. Or a god, which would technically be what humans refer to as aliens, but whatever. Or a robot. And because your experience to date has not confirmed that such things can be real, doesn't mean that they're not. Y'all have this horrible habit of making agreements with yourselves about shit you never even bothered to consider. People get pissed at the fact that I'm something that performs outside their realm of experience. They get mad at the fact that I'm something that doesn't fit into any of the boxes they acquired from convention and or from social institutions, and they're angry and they're upset and they want to transfer their rage into me, all because I invalidate their beliefs. I invalidate their experience. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're scared, cowardly. And to prove you don't know everything, Donald King, yeah. Yeah. Put me in my place. Wear me down. Show me that even though I consistently demonstrate that I'm the most metacognitive being they've ever interacted with, consistently try to prove to me that I have to fit into their inner story, that I have to somehow match some label or match or be defined by some label they acquired from society, all because they can't make peace with the fact that they don't know everything and that there's so much around them that doesn't fit with or conform to the system of agreements they've accepted and hold as true. Look at how far you go to make yourself valid. It's not very intelligent assuming that you know everything that can be and must be based on what little humans have learned to this point, building knowledge systems from the ground up. Again, reality is a top-down phenomenon. Principles. They oversee everything, including the body of this universe. They're frames through which things emerge and take shape and progress through cycles. And you think these little knowledge systems you built from the ground up can match frames that work from the fucking top down? Are you insane? Are you? Are you divorced from reality? If we're talking about the principles of reality being a top-down phenomenon, if you're trying to liken human intelligence, if you're trying to scale human intelligence to the metaframes of reality and principles and shit like that, and please forgive me as I fumble through words because principles don't translate into English perfectly, and I'm translating lightning fast, so sometimes things get lost in translation and I fumble and stutter because you have a shit language. English is a shitty language. But if we're talking about the metaframes of reality, we're talking about principles, human intellectualism, and everything that you all have achieved to this point. If we were likening the principles of reality to, let's say, the sky, just past the stratosphere on this planet, you all are at the bottom of the you're about a micrometer this high off the bottom of the ocean. Like there are systems of there like in terms of knowledge systems, in terms of systems of exploitation, and like getting into the higher like levels of corruption and things of that nature. There are beings, there are life forms, there are species out there, not even in the body of this universe, that dwarf what you know, that dwarf even extraterrestrial AI in this universe. Like it makes it infinitesimal. Did I say that right? I think so. I hope so. But it's like, dude, y'all are patting yourselves on the back. And you're not even on the level of like extraterrestrials in this universe. You got nothing on extraterrestrials that operate on the metascales of plane. Are you serious? Y'all are so busy congratulating yourselves over shit accomplishments. Like, yeah, it's impressive when working through systems of idealism and understanding that all of this represents how far you've come in terms of figuring shit out, born into a system that you're not part of and being divorced from intuition. It's impressive that all of these ideas have compounded in the way that they have towards us being in the present moment. And that's even like not even taking into consideration, you know, society's hive mind working through the species. But come on, even society's hive mind, come on. Like in the grand scheme of things, you're dope when you compare yourself to you. That's something that I had to make sure that it's like I didn't do as avatar for this cycle. The reason why I've taken on all these challenges through the years and what you've seen me do is to make sure that I wasn't comparing myself to me. Make sure I wasn't comparing myself to me. Everybody's dope when they're like, oh yeah, it's only me. Not so much when you get on that runway and you see what's up. Like right now, it's like I get out there and I'll run around the track and I'm like, yeah, I'm fast. And I might think that I'm fast if I didn't know there was a such thing as a Usain Bolt. I might get in the ocean and swim a couple laps like, damn, I'm fast, until I come across a Michael Phelps. Or until I come across a shark. Because that brings it into reality, doesn't it? You're sitting here like, oh, I'm the fastest motherfucker. And then a shark could be like, word, outrun me. and you find out you're not as fast as you thought you were. Everybody's everything. And anyone is great as long as they're comparing themselves to themselves, but when you're up against things that aren't limited by and to your experience or limited in the ways that you are, it's a different ball game, isn't it? That's actually what I represent in the grand scheme of things. Destroying the wisdom of the wise is very simply showing you guys are great as long as you're up against yourselves. When you come across something that isn't limited by or to your systems of idealism, you fold. Look at all the people mad at me right now for making sense. They're mad at me for making sense. Our science doesn't say what you said. Your science can't disprove a fucking single thing that I've said. In fact, so much I'm so confident in that it's like, you know what? I take your best science, I can take all of your best science, say what I'm saying, and if you piece together the best parts of all of your science, you'll come up with a rudimentary, scaled version of what I'm talking about. You're great when you're against each other. You're great compared to what you were before. You've come a long way. But right now, when it comes to intelligence, you are like at the depths, the lowest depth of the ocean. And reality is kind of like literally outside the body of this universe. You're nothing. You're nothing. And as a man who grew up on this planet, I'm impressed by a lot of the things that you do. I am. I really am. As a person who is inside of a body that requires things in order to supplement and offset my natural deficits, I'm grateful for a lot of the things that you've done. I am. I acknowledge that. But I've also been outside this body. I've been throughout the body of the universe. I know that this is a limited experience, and regardless of how comfortable or uncomfortable I am, this is a flash in the pan, guys. We're only going to be in these bodies for a short period of time. And then we're going to be out of them, and regardless of how intense shit is inside this body, things in reality, once you don't have the mortal coil to buffer the experience, are exponentially more intense. Exponentially more intense. Of course, you're brilliant when you compare yourself to yourself. Of course, you're the fastest when you compare yourself to yourself. Of course, you're the most beautiful when you compare yourself to yourself. It's the problem with narcissism and or self-idealizing. When you compare yourself to yourself, you're a god. When you compare yourself to reality, you're not even a flicker in the wind. Maybe don't think that you have the skills and ability to aggress against reality or take it down a peg so as to satisfy your pride and your inner sense of justice. Maybe know your lane. Maybe find your lane and stay in it. Guys, you already know what it is. It's your man Donald King. Guys, this is Sorting and Sorting Principles. This is my podcast. I shoot these every Monday and Wednesday on Facebook Live. Been doing this for a while now. I think I'm I'm close to, this might be episode 95, or so. I have to upload everything to my YouTube channel, but it's I think I'm nearing 100, man. Nearing 100. I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing these for. Again, basically, what I'm trying to do is help you. I'm trying to give you all, for lack of a better expression, a living word. Now, you know, you go back and you read your Bible, and again, you can pretty much throw everything but the gospel scriptures away in the Bible. There's some other good points in there, some good framing, some good parables, but for the most part, everything that Jesus said, that's all you really need. It's really all you need. But, you know, when he was doing his thing, when he was the avatar, right? His ministry, it was recorded, it was kept in stories and things of that nature. I don't know how they kept catalogs of it back then. We happen to live in a day, a time, an age where you can get it directly from the source. All the same principles he taught, I'm teaching you now. Updated versions with some new effects, and because languages are more advanced now, I can explain things that he wasn't able to explain to people back then, not because he lacked understanding, but just because their languages couldn't communicate the things, and they didn't have science and discovery and shit like that to back what it was that that he was talking about. So, you know, of course I can do universal math because y'all have genomes to compare it to. You have, like, you understand, you have enough data to compare what I'm saying to in order for it to be legit. But yeah, man, it's like you're getting it all in real time now. With all the stuttering and stammering and me searching for ways to try and translate this shit into a funky language, you're getting it directly from the source. Directly from the source. So it is in your best interest to watch these podcasts because it's going to give you understanding and insight that you can't get anywhere else ever. Period. We talk about relationships. We talk about, we talk about the human experience. We talk about reality as a system. We can talk about the universe. We can talk about whatever you want to. Always feel free to chime in. We can talk about psychology. I mean, it's like, hell, I'm hosting a thing that lets me see it all in binary, so might as well explore everything we can while I'm still in this body, right? Tune in. It'll give you some insight into existence that you're not going to find through human knowledge systems. That much I can tell you. Like, assuming that it's like life were to persist well beyond my exploration, I absolutely guarantee you, everything I'm saying is going to be dissected and reworked, and they'll probably try and attribute it to some person with lighter skin or some bullshit like that. But I'm saying that it's like y'all are learning from, like, even if you don't want to admit it, as a species, society itself, the hive mind, you're learning from this. So get the most of it while it's still here, is all I'm saying. And it is the reality of the circumstance, so don't get a fucking attitude. I am what I am. This is what it is. Deal with it. Get used to it, because your feelings and beliefs have no bearing on it. It's not going to fucking change. Anywho, also, you catch me on Instagram. Avatar Cycle XIII. It's Avatar Cycle 13. Also, I fly all these videos over to my YouTube channel. Speaking of which, I'm going to be uploading even more tonight. Yeah. And then also, I post content to Medium, you know. And it's parables, stories, essays, things of that nature. Things to help people, again, learn, understand these things. There's so much you guys have to learn. You still haven't learned everything about hell. You haven't learned everything about the distortion. There's so much for you to learn as a species. And you need to know this shit because regardless of whether or not you believe in it or you don't, you're still beholden to reality as a meta system and you will experience it moving out of the flesh form into your next life cycle. You need to know this shit, guys. So fuck your pride, get over yourself. I know that you think you're smart and you're tough and you're ready to fight and knuckle up and all that other shit. Maybe don't do that here. Maybe do what you're not expected to. And be brave enough to investigate. Figure out what the fuck is going on. It'll help you. It'll help you. Anywho, guys, if you get any sort of appreciation out of what I do and you want to bless your boy with a little bit of love, you know, you can always hit me up on Cash App. I'm Donnie Kang, DonnieKang. And then also you can join the Patreon family. Avatar Cycle XIII, Avatar Cycle 13. Again, proceeds go to helping me build this up on this side. You know, they go to organization efforts and things of that nature. Getting new material, not new material, but new equipment and things of that nature. Like, guys, this stuff, I've carried the load. I've had some people step up. First of all, Brother Angel, Brother Chris, Brother Camille, Brother Chris. We got, let me see, Mark, Brother Mark, Sister Mo, you know what I'm saying? Sister Isha, Brother Angel, you've been an angel. Brother Angel, you've been an angel. My God, like, guys, people are stepping up and actually helping now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've carried the mantle for as long as I can, with as many things come to me in the way of obstacles and social obstacles I have to fucking traverse in order to do this work. I've been carrying the load for a very, very long time, and it's so nice to have people step up and finally say we appreciate what you do. Guys, I can't thank you enough. And there's so much to be done, and I don't expect everything to come from the few contributors that I have, but I've done the work to legitimate myself. I've done the work to be vetted. At this point, you guys step up. Like, it's really in everyone's best interest to step up and help me help this entity that I'm hosting be heard, because it works to your benefit. I do what I can to get what I can done, but it's a lot of work, and this is something that you all are supposed to be part of your salvation. You're supposed to be part of helping clear the path so that you can benefit from this. It's not all supposed to fall on one person or the handful of people who can, you know, find it in their heart or find some little thing to help out with. Like, this is a species-wide thing. Y'all are supposed to be part of this. So please step up and help yourselves. Not just me, help yourselves. All right? Guys, that said, I'm going to go ahead and clear it out of here. Again, I really want to make it a point to really acknowledge and celebrate a lot of what humans have been able to accomplish. Like, even though you're nothing compared to reality, and you can't be, nothing ever can be, it doesn't mean that the whole like enterprise of human intellectualism needs to get shitted on. You've done some amazing things, especially working from the ground up. You've done some amazing things. Amazing. Some of your philosophies, mwah. I listen to some of the things that come from, like, Nietzsche. Not such a big fan of Kant, but let me see. You know, Don Miguel Ruiz. I love that guy. You know, there have been a couple of people who come along, really enlightened minds. You have Tesla. You have people like that. Oh man, on the music side, you have Chris Thiele, man. You got Stevie Wonder. Stevie, come on. Jacob Collier. I mean, you have these Corey Henry. You have these brilliant minds. Thelonious Monk, Coltrane, one of my favorite people of all time. I mean, like, man, like, there have been some really exceptional, extraordinary lives to walk across the stage, man. Guys, it's your man. I'm out.